Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. That's my book. Anyway, today I'm going to do a video about a question that I get asked on a regular basis. So many people tweet me and direct message me and comment on my videos like, what is an audiobook that you would recommend? Or like, what's one of your favorite audiobooks? Or where should I start? And things like that. And I have so many because if you watch my channels and my vlogs and stuff, you know, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. And I think I might do a video on, are audiobooks really reading? Because this seems to be a topic that comes up a lot. And people are like, you listen to audiobooks, that's not reading. Says who? I don't know that I agree with that. I mean, it still means I listen to the story of the book, okay? And, but I have a whole discussion about all that. That's evidence-based that we can talk about. But at any given time, I am listening to an audiobook, reading a physical book, and reading a Kindle book. So I'm always 3 books. And that's kind of the way that I decided to do it like a year ago when I was reading like 7 books at the same time. I was like, this is crazy chaos. I can't keep up with this. So anyway, what I thought I would do today is just go through all of my books that I've read on Goodreads recently in the last year or something and tell you guys what some of my favorites are, which ones I think are ones that like make a difference if you listen to them on Audible or audio and things like that. And there are some audio books that for me, it made such a huge difference that it was an audio version, if that makes sense. Like, for example, one of them, I'll tell you this. I do not love full cast recordings, okay? It's very, very confusing to me. And sometimes I like it and sometimes I don't. Like recently, I read They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, and there's different voices that are in there. I also have my favorite narrators on Audible. So you guys know I'm like a huge Audible fan, right? Like basically, it is the most confusing thing in the entire world why they aren't sponsoring me. Not sponsored. But I don't care. I love Audible so much. But I have like my favorite narrators on there. I cannot believe I cannot remember what this woman's name is. But she has narrated like The Hate U Give. She was in They Both Die at the End. She was one of the characters or a couple of the characters. She also narrated The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. Why can I not remember her name? She's fantastic. She's like one of my favorites. Also, the woman that narrates Rainbow Rowell's books is great. And Rainbow Rowell's books are one of the books that I would always recommend to listen to on audio. Whereas like John Green's, I don't think it makes any difference whatsoever. And in fact, it was interesting because I'm listening to right now Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. You guys, this book is fantastic. Okay, fantastic. And I got it because there was a blurb at the top by John Green. And I was very apprehensive because the last book that I got that was blurbed by John Green was E. Lockhart's We Were Liars, and I didn't like that book. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't my thing. So, but I got this book, and then I got it on Audible, and I got it on Audible because I was like, this sounds really good. It's a mystery, and it's a series. It is so fantastic. But it's narrated by Kate Rudd, and I think that Kate Rudd also narrated Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. So it was interesting to me that little, like I'm wondering like where all of the lines cross, you know, with all of that stuff within the bookish world that we're not aware of. So anyway, Year One by Nora Roberts, I just did a whole review on. It was okay. I wouldn't say it's a book you need to listen to on Audible. The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn, I would say is definitely a book you should listen to via Audible or audio. It is, and okay, and the other thing is this. I listen to Audible. A lot of people ask me why I don't listen to books using, what is the app? It's your library app. So there's a free app and it is called Overdrive. And if you have a library membership in the United States, you can, I don't know about other countries, I apologize, but you can get audiobooks and Kindle books on there for free, just like you're at the library. I used it at the beginning, but it's real slow on my phone. I don't know why. So I just prefer to use Audible. So that's it. The Woman in the Window, the narrator is so fantastic. Bonnie Turpin, that's who it is. Bonnie Turpin is, oh, she's my favorite narrator of life, okay? She is so good. She did all those books I was talking about. So anyway, but The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn is this fantastic Hitchcockian mystery, and I did a whole review. I've done a review on every book I've read this year, but it was so well done, and the audio version of it was terrifying to listen to. So I would definitely the audio version. They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I mean, it's not, you don't have to listen to that on Christmas. Let's see. I'm looking through all of these books to see. Okay, Wonder by R.J. Palacio. I listened to that on Audible. It was on sale. what I loved about the audio version was that it was a full cast recording. And a lot of times I don't like that. But for Wonder, it really worked for me. I don't know, it just was so well done. The other thing that I really like about some of these audiobooks, especially on Audible, I don't know how they are on like the Library Overdrive, is that they will have interviews with the authors at the end, or they'll have like book study kind of things that have happened through the book. And I think at the end of R.J. Palacio's Wonder, they have this whole thing about all the mottos that came out of the book. They talk about it at the end, so I liked that. Let's see, I'm going through all these books. The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli, which is one of my all-time favorite books. This book, it was just, oh my God. I like it better than Simon vs. Homo Sapiens Agenda. I really do. I don't know why. I just think that Becky Albertalli gets better with each book that she writes. It's fantastic, right? The audio version was, oh my God, it was so good. It was so good. To Kill a Mockingbird, I listened to it. It was by Sissy Spacek. I will tell you, I wouldn't recommend listening to it on Audible or audio. The reason why is because, I'm just gonna call this my Audible recommendation since that's what I use. Some of the things that Sissy Spacek said that were direct lines from the book, if you love the movie, she didn't say them the same way, with the same, you know, like, intonation and things like that. And I don't know why it bothered me, and I love Sissy Spacek. I mean, she's one of my favorite actresses, but I can't imagine who else would read this book, but I was like, I don't love that you did that you kind of changed some of Scout's, you know, intonation. Like, I know her from the movie, too, you know? So, and that's the difficult thing with reading a book, and, okay, My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix was fantastic. Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. It's actually a full cast recording, and I just listened to I haven't seen the movie yet. I still wanted to see the movie. I mean, I've seen the old movie, but not the new one. It was really, really a good audiobook. All the Crooked Saints by Maggie Stiefvater. I thought the audio version was fantastic. I actually thought the audio version, because of the narrator's, like, how he spoke, was better than if you just read the book. It reminded me so much of, like, a telenovela. And if you watch Jane the Virgin, it really reminded me of that. Like, that kind of, like, you know, Jane Villanueva. Like, that very kind of, like, funny, but if you do watch telenovelas, like, my whole family watches them because my husband's from Venezuela, and so they're always on in the background, and that is it, you know, like, that's how they speak. And in the telenovelas, they're like, you know, Jane was walking down the street, and I love that. I love it. You know, it's so homey to me, and so when that was in there, I just was, like, so blown away. All the Crooked Saints is just so good one way or the other, right? Okay, let's see. What else I listened to that was, you had to listen to it on Audible. All these books I read. Eliza and Her Monsters, fantastic. I'm trying to see which ones. I read all these books. I read all these books. Well, I listened to The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, and it really profoundly changed me last year. Y'all know that, right? But the audio version, I think it was narrated by Bonnie Turpin, and it was so fantastic. And the thing I love about her was that I almost am positive that, oh no, I listened to The Inexplicable Logic of My Life right before that. That was not one of my favorite Benjamin Ollier science books. But Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe on audio. It's fantastic. I had listened to Colson Whitehead's, I mean, probably like 4 or 5 books before this. Where is it? Oh no. Oh, here it is. Probably 6 books before I had read that. And then I go into The Hate You Give, and Bonnie Turpin narrated both of them so completely differently. And when I saw her name come up, I thought, how is she going to narrate both of these books? Fantastically. I mean, this is where, like, the acting of the narrator is really important. So The Hate You Give is a great narrative or audiobook. Let's see, I read all these. Kill the Boy Band, If I Was Your Girl, I read those. Pecan Man, Underground Railroad, This Fragile World, More Happy Than Not, All the Missing Girls. Okay, none of these are like books that I would tell you that you had to listen to on Audible. Most of these I read. Okay, Binge, and this is where I'll end it. Binge by Tyler Oakley. Oh, and Ready Player One. If you have not read Ready Player One, it's coming out as a movie this year. I think this year. Go get the audio version. It is fantastic. I started to read that book and I got so confused. I listened to the audio version and I was like, oh, it was my favorite book. When did I read it? I think 2016. It was my favorite book of 2016 and it was just so well done. I loved it. But I listened to Binge by Tyler Oakley, and I like reading all of those YouTubers, kind of like, you know, tell-alls and all that kind of stuff, autobiographies. But his is interesting because he talks to the listener in the book. Like as he's reading it, he'll be like, hey, you guys out there listening to this on audio, are you doing okay? Like, are you keeping up? And at first it kind of bothered me. And then I thought, oh, this is kind of like very much in vein of Tyler Oakley. And I was impressed with it. I liked it. And he includes stories in the audio version that you don't get in the book. So I really liked that. And he reads his own book, which I think is fantastic, you know? So those are some of my favorite audiobooks. If you want more recommendations that are specific to like a mystery or a romance or a young adult contemporary or something like that, let me know in the comment section below and be more than happy to give them to you. One of the books that I would highly, highly, highly recommend is Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. I did not love the sequel, Waking Gods, but I'm waiting for the third book in the series. But I will tell you this, that book profoundly... No, it didn't change me. It was a good book, and so is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, and I listened to those back to back, and I just didn't even want to get out of my car. I mean, I just would want to drive around for hours. They were so good. So, Sleeping Giants and Dark Matter, two of the best books that I've ever listened to on audio. So, I love you guys. I hope that was a little bit helpful to you. It's kind of a different thing than I usually do on here with recommendations, and yeah, I will see you tomorrow. Bye.